Hello and welcome to my second day of my 30-day modeling challenge, where I attempt to make a 3D model from start to finish, texture and all. Just a simple exercise where I roll a completely random word and I attempt to model it over a day. This time it's a tennis racket, and this is... I learned a pretty solid lesson, an important lesson here, that I was like, oh yeah, a tennis racket, this will be over in a jiffy, this is gonna be easy. But it turns out that sometimes with a mesh that's seemingly simple to make, at the beginning it's kind of hard to discern what to start out with. Here, for example, I start off with the handle and I figure out how to make a sort of tapered look. Always takes a while to enter get into my flow when modeling something. And the racket part, the main racket part, racket head, I guess, the netting, turned out to be quite special. It's quite a special shape because it's not entirely round. At first I started off with a square, as you can see here, but then I changed my mind. I'm like, no, it's better to just start off with a circle, right? And ellipse it out a bit and then start from there. This seemingly simple object turned out to be quite an ordeal, I must say. I actually got so stressed because I actually made the bad decision of doing this like first thing in the morning. I sit there with my morning coffee and just like, I can do this quick. And in the morning it takes a while for my brain to start off properly. So here, this is like, what is this? Yeah, I think at least 15 minutes in, or something like that. I don't know. I can't discern the speed of it. But I can say that the main modeling, base modeling, took about the recording of that is about 64 minutes. Because I was going back and forth with certain parts. I turned off the mirror modifier way too early, and then I turned it back on again eventually, because some of the parts just didn't look right. And well, it's my slow descent into madness started off when I when I imported it into Substance Painter and tried to figure out how I would make the netting texture. But I'll get to that once the video gets there. For now, I was just here trying to figure out the most efficient way to make very specific shapes. Here I'm like arching it out a bit to make it have the same shape as in the reference image that I just googled. But it's I really felt my brain working full time while being on the medicine and all I was like I felt quite stupid. My brain felt stunted in a way, but also it was like I gave myself the time pressure to start off, try to get this done before having to go to my circus training, which is every Saturday. And I arrived late because of it. and it was the final training for this year's semester. So it was the time pressure sort of like fucks up my mind a bit, but also like the lack of focus that I had in the morning. But I think it was a good thing to just try out, like, okay, how well do I perform in the morning when tackling on a task as seemingly simple as making a fucking tennis racket. Suddenly was far from simple. But it's when you're kind of a perfectionist, you start like tugging vertices and edges and everything like back and forth forever, and you fill out the holes, and sometimes it takes. Eventually, you've spent hours on a very, very small, nitpicky thing that doesn't even really matter that much for what you're trying to achieve. So I don't know. It's it took way longer than I expected it to. I really, really thought that I was gonna finish it quite quickly, but I so my the the self-esteem took a bit of a blow this morning doing this, but I was just only focusing on like just getting through it, getting it done, and just let it take the time it takes. I had a great flow training today. It's always nice to meet my community people and share tricks, and I attended a poi juggling workshop where we would learn how to properly toss, do tosses, like juggling tosses, but with poi instead. A juggling club is a static object, but poi are not. It's a ball with a weighted ball and a leash. But it was really fun. I had a good time. Thank you for the workshop, Alex. What else? I'm trying to recall, like, what was my mental state at this point, because at this point I was starting to feel the pressure, the time pressure. I think here I had like about maybe less than an hour left until I had to leave for the circus training. It's a 1 hour car ride for me, so it's have to be very time effective. Not a good combination when you have as much ADHD as I have. The thing about this ADHD is I really was part of the camp where ADHD is my superpower. You know, I really felt like I could do anything when I was younger. But as I got older and the tasks became more, everyday tasks and chores became smaller and more quantified, as opposed to quality tasks. If that even makes sense, I don't even know. I'm just thinking out loud. But think of it as just realizing how aware of sounds and external stimuli I am to, how sensitive I am to external stimuli. It certainly didn't feel like that when I was younger, but I was quite annoyed with people, easily annoyed by loud people. But I think I was quite loud myself, so I don't know. Maybe. I also smoked a lot of weed when I was younger. Maybe that helped quite a bit. Slow down my brain. Today I can just describe my brain and thought patterns quite. For example, as I'm trying to speak out loud right now and trying to catch whatever's on my mind, it's like trying to pick out specific words from a cascade of words that relate to that only slightly or vaguely or specifically relate to each other, and I'm just trying to look for the closest synonym whenever I can't find the exact word to describe what I mean. This is where I was really starting to. This is where the nitpicking is starting to become detrimental to the model. Look how crooked that is getting, and but luckily I realized that quite early on, so I just used the loop tool modifier to relax the curve of the racket holder. But I thinned it out way too much. I think I thicken it. I make it thicker. Yeah, here I am trying to make it thicker and less fudged. This is where I was starting to get really annoyed with myself. But I was like, yeah, now it's time to finish up. I gotta like UV this right now. What the hell is this hole doing there? Oh my god, what have I done? Things like that, just like realizing how... Yeah, well, this... I wouldn't rate this... I wouldn't place this among my best work. But it's only from mistakes you can learn, right? Or can you? I think you can. I think there's plenty to learn in victories as well, but it's probably easier to look back and find the mistakes retroactively, right? Oof, my throat is so fucking dry. Oh, sorry about that. I was supposed to start like UV unwrapping, but I'm still like pulling and tugging at the thing as I am adding the seams to the cut. Oh right, and here on the wrapping of the handle, it's not really supposed to look like that. I'm pretty sure it's like the wrapping makes like a spiral around the racket, but those are things that you don't really notice it right at first glance. It's not really... I mean, I guess I could have like tried to figure out how to make a spiral around the cylinder, but a spiral cut around the cylinder, but I just wanted... I think it's like a matter of balancing what is most effective for what you want to achieve, and what I wanted to achieve here was like, yeah, it's a tennis racket. It's a simple tennis racket, in the least fancy way, in the least the path of least resistance, That sounds bad, but I really think that's like part of it, a thing I keep hearing a thing I kept hearing at when I was studying game dev was that, yeah, it's not nothing ever gets finished, you only reach a point where it's good enough. And with this challenge, the meshes that I'm making, I really want to just make that the point of the exercise, just yeah, make pull and tug vertices and make geometry until it's a racket that's good enough. I feel like I'm rambling a bit, but you know, that's the point of this video. Time lapsing of me modeling and just me doing a bit of a semi post mortem of my shoddy ass work, while also looking inwards and see what else is surfacing, you know. I also want to like get better at, you know, speaking properly. What I was mentioning before, that it's so hard to make coherent sentences, speak sufficiently and effectively without being too long-winded. You know, I end up being too long-winded, and sometimes people just misunderstand me. Oh, here it is. Here is the. Here is where it starts to. Here's where I really start to get really frustrated. This fucking material, I was trying to figure out. I don't do it very often. Work with opacity, transparency with Substance Painter, because it's kind of weird. You have to like make it separate, a separate layer, and here I'm trying to figure out how to make what's the best way to make these. What is it even called? The webbing, I guess. The webbing of the net webbing of the racket. It's I was exploring different ways to how I could pull it off without having to draw each string line by line. But yeah, I ended up not finishing it in time. I ended up having to pause the material making and go to attend to my circus training, and finish it in the evening instead, because man, oh man, I spend an unreasonable amount of time trying to figure out how to do this stupid webbing, and it's you can see I'm starting to get really frustrated. It's this is not my finest moment. Here I am, like considering making it hand by hand, but I'm looking at the clock and I'm like, yeah, I'm probably not gonna. Probably should just finish it later. And also there's this fucking thing, adding the transparency to the edges, because for some reason I had to make a loop cut there along the face where the webbing is gonna be. Those are like, that's how sometimes you have to really think about what you're doing when you're modeling, because when it's time to make polygon fill in Substance Painter, sometimes you can get really frustrated, and this was one of the, because you know what, I started off like, yeah, this is gonna be so easy, and clearly it's not that easy. Clearly it wasn't very easy. Clearly it was a combination of the mesh not being that as simple as I thought, and me getting in my own way, I think. I think this part, yeah, I spent about 23 minutes just in Substance Painter looking for the material, because the base material, I don't know what the racket is made of, maybe some form of carbon fiber metal or something like that. That part was so easy to make, like a nice glossy material, but the webbing took a third of the time it took to make the model, and that's sometimes it's like that. Sometimes it's it's like that in every field of game dev. Sometimes there's a coder finicking like crazy. Yeah, working out some spaghetti code, a code that ends up being a spaghetti code because he didn't have the foresight that something a certain problem would turn up. And here I just cave in and just, you know what, fuck it, I'm just gonna do the lines. Yeah, here it is. Here's my descent into full madness where I just go into full concentration mode and frustratingly making this really ugly webbing. And also, I did it in the red color first because when I did it in the color that I wanted to do it originally, I could barely see the lines. So I was like, yeah, the red color is the placeholder, and then I'll just change it once I'm finished with the webbing. This is too much webbing, by the way. It's I should have taken a closer look at the reference, but it's it is what it is. Sometimes you just put yourself. The stubbornness of it is just so comical. Like, nope, I'm just gonna bite the bullet and fucking beast my way, forcefully draw each and every single one of these 100 lines just to make a stupid webbing, you know? But here, I finally finished it, you know? Was it worth it? I don't know, man. Probably not, but at least I did it in one day. Not a full day, of course, but yeah, the whole process all in all took about 1 hour and a half, almost. So yeah, thank you so much, and see you tomorrow. Bye.